Thank you, Mr. Crouch. Next for County Supervisor is Thomas Pena.
Hello, everyone. I'm here because my wife, we were retired unexpectedly. We had a successful printing company for 23 years, and I've been privately employed and making our living on our own for 26 years. I have a business now here. My wife is Annabelle Lance Pena. She was born and raised in Red Oak and is a member of the Glenwood DAR chapter. We've been coming since 1991 over here every other year to visit her family, mother, father, and sisters. And when we were kind of forced to retire a little bit earlier than expected due to eminent domain, with a one-day notice, we had already been planning on moving to Iowa, and particularly in this kind of an area, because I just liked the way it reminded me when I was growing up. My parents were both born in California. My father served in World War II, but married very late in his life. He was 35 years old, and we had 5 siblings. We would learn to really work with the values of working hard, getting involved with the church and the community. And I had a very unique opportunity when I went to work for a beer company for 10 years. Not only was I a salesman, but I was also the company outreach community representative for Highmark Distributing in the Palm Springs area. So I was able to go to a lot of different meetings and get active and involved to represent our company at that time. And eventually bought my printing company. I want to be a citizen, voter, taxpayer advocate, and I do wish the opportunity to serve. It's time we hand over the reins and move forward and get involved. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Pena. Last and certainly not least, a Republican candidate for treasurer, Becky Kilpack.
Good evening. My name is Becky Kilpack, and I'm the current Mills County Treasurer. I was elected to my first term in 2010. I'm a lifetime Mills County resident and have 2 children, Alex and Dana, who are attending college now. I'm an active member of Dollars for Scholars, Glenwood Booster Club, and work closely with Relay for Life. I do a lot of volunteering here at the high school. I graduated from Glenwood High School in 1990. And I just this week completed my 14th year in the office. I started in the motor vehicle department in 2002, and later that year was moved to driver's license. I came to the office trained in that department, having worked for the state for the 2 years previous. Over the last 3 years, I've completed Certified Treasurer's Program and graduated yesterday. I've learned much valuable information and skills over the last 3 years, and would like to continue serving the citizens of Mills County in the position of treasurer. I feel that I can provide helpful and courteous service while changing the regulations set forth by the state in all aspects of my office. I am running for re-election and would appreciate your vote on June 3rd.
Thank you, Ms. Kilpack. This is democracy at work, the grassroots level. We're right there, right now. So we got to celebrate even this evening. Having each of our candidates here this evening, we appreciate their coming and making this a priority to be able to share with you, and also then for you to have your questions answered. A reminder that we do have Central Committee members who will be circulating throughout the auditorium this evening for questions for our county candidates. And as we collect those questions, we have quite a few. Our goal is to, if we have 4 questions for each candidate, to ask them, work toward that. We are shooting to have this evening last no more than maybe 90 minutes or so. That is our goal. A lot of that depends then on the how colorful our discussions might get this evening. We'll put it that way. First, we'll turn to our county supervisors with the first question from our audience. And we had Mr. Richard Crouch give the opening statement. So the first candidate for county supervisor I'll direct this to is Mr. Thomas Pena. The question from our audience. Please explain your support of or opposition to the Mills County building permits and inspection process. It's basically a 2-part question. 75% of the monies collected by county contractor JAS are sent to California. Is this good for Mills County or good for California? Mr. Pena.
First of all, I had an opportunity to actually go out and listen to that gentleman who was in charge to kind of hear from the horse's mouth. Since then, I was knocking on all kinds of doors, and I want to be a representative of the people. They're not happy with it. If I was to give a chance now to vote to continue with them, it would be no. I know how to say no, and I will vote no based upon the citizens and voter and taxpayers that I've talked to. The experience that I had in 2009 when I moved here, I was unaware of the fact of how the efforts to get assessments for homes was really very lax. When I bought it in 2008, I have a 16-acre parcel out in the country on 235th Street. I'm on the PJ to voting area. I was visited by the newly appointed and hired assessors on April and was told we had a lot of buildings that weren't even on the tax roll. And therefore my property taxes went up 25% as a result. My comment was, how did this happen? What happened before 2009? Well, we need accountability from the county to have their own. 25% is all they get in return, but they still have an accountability problem. And I'm a Republican. I don't want any more rules and regulations. I don't support any tax increases. Tax rates should be lowered, and the county should now assume the full responsibility so they have accountability from their citizens. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Pinion. To Mr. Crouch, I'll reread the question for you. Please explain your support or opposition to the Mills County building permits and inspection process. 75% of the monies collected by county contractor JAS are sent to California. Is this good for Mills County or good for California? Mr. Crouch.
Since this was this on, I guess at the top of the list. We implemented county zoning several years ago when I was on the board, and we also thought that it would be a good time to bring in permitting. We've had a lot of struggles with permitting, but I think that it has been very successful in some ways. At first, when it started out, the state was involved with it. They have backed off. They still take care of the electrical part and the permitting of everything. As far as the money going to California, we have looked very hard at having our own people do this, but when you sit down and you balance out the amount of money that it takes to hire personnel for the operation down there, plus the insurance to cover the operation that we have, people have seen this work through the process, of permitting and things. We have got a lot of houses in Mills County that I would say would right now would not meet standards for the living that we have in the county nowadays. So as far as what California gets out of it, what the county gets out of it, you have to have a check and balance. And as far as the property being assessed, we hire outside people to do this, plus our own people go out and cover a certain portion of it. Most of the outside sources come on the commercial property. So am I in favor of getting rid of permits and so on? At this time, I would say no.
Thank you, Mr. Crouch. We'll next turn to our county attorney candidates. And our county attorney candidates, Ms. Ashley Kissel went first. So this will be directed first to Ms. Tricia McSorley with the first question. In your opinion, from the perspective of the candidate running for county attorney, what is the number one problem facing Mills County?
The number one problem facing Mills County right now, I would say that we have, and I don't think it's just Mills County, but crime is on the rise. So thefts and burglaries tend to be a large problem that we see throughout our office, and that is on the rise in Mills County. I don't see it decreasing anytime soon. We have a lot of economic growth throughout the county, and that is wonderful. It's great. It's best for the county, but with that is going to come probably more of those types of crime. For example, the opening of Highway 34 allows better access to our county. It will probably allow more economic growth, more business developments. It also allows for easier access to the county from a neighboring state. With that comes more traffic, along with that comes more crime. And so that is something that I believe that we see in our office, or in my position right now. Since I've been in the office since 2010, I have handled all property crimes, which includes prosecuting all robberies, burglaries, and thefts. And we see a lot of, especially farm ground, getting hit by thefts or abandoned homes getting hit by burglaries. And I do believe that those are driven by probably mostly addictions, drug addictions, and that's not going down. As much as our law enforcement, local law enforcement fights it, and the area law enforcement, both of the other agencies within Iowa and our neighboring state, we all work together to fight it. It's still on the rise, and economic growth will not decrease that. I think that's our biggest problem right now.
Thank you, Ms. McSorley. Same question directed to Ashley Kissel. From your perspective as a candidate for county attorney, what is the #1 problem facing Mills County?
The #1 problem facing Mills County right now, from the perspective of a prosecutor, is how effectively they're working with the law enforcement. Being a county attorney is more than just being about the court docket. The county attorney sets the tone for law enforcement in the community. And I believe that it's important to be consistent in enforcement of the laws and in their prosecution. And to efficiently and effectively be a prosecutor, we need to work hard to work with the law enforcement to ensure that that goal is accomplished.
Thank you, Ms. Kissel. Next question goes to our candidate for county reporter. Are there ways to create greater efficiencies? That's Ms. Tallman. Are there ways to create greater efficiencies, such as reduce costs, improve customer service in your office?
Yes, there is. We actually have a number of processes that in some ways are duplicated or triplicated. I think we can eliminate some of those processes and combine others to make us more efficient. What was the second part?
Are there ways to create greater efficiencies, reduce costs, improve customer service in your office?
Definitely to improve customer service, if we could be able to use debit and credit card machines. People go to the treasurer's office right across the hall, they renew their car license plates, turn around, would like to renew their vote, and we can't take the cards, and sometimes they're not very happy. So that would be the #1 thing I can think of that would make us more customer service friendly.
Thank you, Ms. Tallman. Same question directed to our candidate for county treasurer, Ms. Kilpack. Are there ways to create greater efficiencies, reduce costs, and improve customer service in your office?
We currently, as Lisa stated, take the debit and credit cards. It does come with a fee to the customer because as a government office, we can't absorb the fees that the credit card companies assess to the transaction. It's still used though, it's still a convenience, it still is used quite often every day. We are currently scanning our paperwork from the motor vehicle department to save space for storage. We're running out of storage room for the papers, so we are putting those things on scan disk. Those are the things we're doing right now.
Very good. Thank you, Ms. Kilpack. Next, we'll turn again to our county attorneys candidates. That question was basically asked the last time. We'll go to this one. This question from our audience, and our first candidate, we had Ms. McSorley the last time. Ms. Kissel, this question will be directed to you. The question from our audience is, how many trials have you had and how many convictions?